All right, hello everybody. Happy Tuesday and welcome to my next ACS Partner Portal Partner Demo, where we're going to look at the best ACS resources for our partners. So what we'll do is we're going to look at our Partner Portal, we'll take a look at our Pricing Pro and our FiberLookup tool, and really dive into some of the core features and rich pages that we have within the portal, within the FiberLookup, so that ACS partners watching this can get a better idea of the tools, the resources, and the support that's available to them. So with that being said, if there's any questions throughout this call, feel free to type them in the chat. And at the end of the call, I'll be sure to look in the chat and address those. I'm going to go ahead and get started. So this is the ACS Partner Portal. Now, if you don't have access to this, you can always reach out to marketing, and I'm going to have some good contacts for you too. So you can always reach out, make sure you have access to this. Every ACS partner should have access to the Partner Portal and the FiberLookup, which we'll look at shortly. But the best part about the ACS Partner Portal, I mean, one of the newest things you'll see is this President's Club, and I'll get to it very shortly. But one of the main core blocks of this ACS Partner Portal is this section here, and this is probably one of the most defining sections of your Partner Portal, your ACS team. For every ACS partner, your team, the composition of your team is going to look different. The reason being is that we've curated teams depending on your region, right? So if you're on the West Coast, East Coast, Central, Northeast, Southeast, even on your specialization, right? So we have some partners who do a lot of hospitality, a lot of real estate. So depending on, where you fit into that, we've designated a team specifically for you. So the main takeaway is that your ACS team might look a little different, and that's okay because at its core, you're still going to get that full end-to-end support. And I'm going to go ahead and just give you a quick rundown of what every ACS team member, what they're here for, and how they can support you. So first and foremost, I have David Herring here. For many of you, he will be your channel manager. And like I said, for many others, you'll have a different channel manager. But at its core, your ACS channel manager is there for you for all things sales quoting, sales strategy, questions about the partnership. Fun fact about the ACS channel managers. Every ACS channel manager has at least 13 plus years of industry experience. So typically the channel manager you're working with, they've done everything under the sun. They're going to have all the product recommendations. They're going to know the differences between this provider and that provider. So just lean on them as a great resource. You can pretty much copy them on any opportunity, CC them on any question. They're here to support you. In addition to that, you also have a dedicated support manager. Your support manager is there for helping generate orders, generate agreements, additional quote support, questions about provisioning, right? Did the order activate? Did the technician show up on time? What's the latest note on this order? They're going to have that helpful information. So just additional support available to you in case your channel manager is running on a call, out in a conference, you always have a backup person. Marketing manager, whether you have marketing needs that are email campaigns, sales scripts, we've done white pages, one sheets, business cards, whatever you need to help move your business forward, you can get in touch with our marketing person. We have a couple questionnaires to help you answer and help really curate your responses to build you the best marketing assets for your agency. And then lastly, I'm your partner success manager. I help partners, run through these demos, right? I can meet with your team more exclusively, run a demo about the partner portal, our FiberLookup, which is our #1 most utilized resource from our partners. I can do, very intimate demos where we get more of a deep dive. And then also I can talk all things commissions, how much you get paid, when you get paid, spiffs, bonuses, incentives, you name it, all that fun stuff. You can always reach out to me. I'm happy to answer those questions all day. So at a glance, that's your ACS team. So again, I encourage all partners, go to your ACS partner portal, get refamiliarized with your team. If you're looking at your team and you're like, I don't know some of these people, reach out to your channel manager and let's set up some introductions so that we can get reacquainted and you can learn what we're here for and how we can support you. All right, I'm going to talk about the elephant in the room because look at this big old banner, right? President's Club. That's right. So everybody on this call is getting a 1 hour preview because this is about to get announced and published everywhere on social media, email blasts, nationally. Everyone's going to know about this. The ACS just launched its President's Club, and you are eligible. If you click on this banner here, we've really broken down what the ACS President's Club is about. And for anyone here who's not familiar with the President's Club, essentially, you keep doing what you already do, is basically, generating revenue, creating sales for your own business. What we've done is we've reached out to providers and said, hey, if we can get partners to sell your product, your services, right? What's the minimum amount of revenue that they need to generate so that you can sponsor them and send them to an all-inclusive trip that's going to be hosted and organized by ACS Cloud partners. So if we look here at a glance, you can see all these different providers and you'll notice all these different MRCs, right? This is the yearly MRC generated. So that's going to be based on 2026 sales performance. And all of these sponsors are going to sponsor different number of partners. You can see here 2 partners, 1 partner. But look at AirSpring, for example, right? In their eyes is, hey, if we can get as many partners to generate 18,000 in new MRC, and again, this is for the whole year. A lot of this stuff is very viable, very doable, and just a great opportunity to, oh, and here's the fun part. Not only are they sponsoring you, they're going to sponsor your plus one, right? Your wife, your partner, your husband, whoever that may be, your plus. So it's going to be a partner and a plus one included in that sponsorship to an all-inclusive trip. It's going to be loads of fun. We haven't announced the destination. We're waiting we're waiting for that announcement, but you don't want to miss out on this. I mean, these are suppliers you're already selling. So it's one of those things to just keep in mind as you're selling them. And you can even see 8,000 for Sangoma. So just a great opportunity to continue selling what you're already selling and be a part of this ACS President's Club. And then also for, ACS is also having its own sponsorship, within the President's Club. And again, I don't want anyone on this call to think, Sergio's throwing out numbers. What are all these different logos? I'm happy to break this down in a very digestible way. We can get on a call with your team, and I'm happy to kind of run through the numbers, not a problem. But the main takeaway is these are the providers that are sponsoring partners like you in 2020. The trip's going to be in 2027, but based on 2026 revenue, these are the suppliers who've outlined, hey, this is the minimum amount of new MRC needed so that we can sponsor somebody. And there's some great opportunities here, and you can see kind of end to end the different values that are here. So very doable. It's going to be a great President's Club. And again, that's available for your viewing on this banner here. So next, what I want to look at is the provider section. And I'm going to keep this very, very punchy, right? We're going to look at all the core pages in the partner portal. Really quick up here on the menu bar, right? Just some quick stuff I'm going to touch on. Partner Center, it's quick links, right? Quick links to very important pages, your dashboard, FiberLookup, PricingPro, and ACS Automotive, which we'll look at very, very shortly. Orders page. Anytime you're submitting an order, you're going to see that in that orders table. Mine's not going to populate. I'm on a test account, but every order that you place with ACS, by the end of the day, you should see that order populate in that orders tab, right? A lot of times partners are like, hey, what's the status of this or that order? Full transparency now, right? Now you can see exactly what we've recorded in our system, and it will populate in this orders table. So if you're missing an order, or maybe you thought you sent an order but didn't, you're going to be able to get to the bottom of that and see everything clearly. Commissions, right? We all love our commissions. We have commission statements, which you'll receive the 15th of each month. All our partners got their commissions last Friday. Commission rate sheet. I won't spend too much time here, but in general, we're very transparent about the commission rates that we earn and that get passed on to you, right? So we show you what ACS gets paid from the suppliers. There's no things hidden behind this curtain. Very transparent. That's the word of the day, right? Transparency, because that's what we're all about, letting partners know exactly what we know and then just sharing that information with them. Spiff Finder, you can sort spiffs by product, by supplier, by multiplier, right? Whatever it is you're looking for, you have that all set up there. And then, of course, commission tickets if there's ever anything proactively you're looking for. All right, so now we're on the providers page. We can sort by providers by these different categories: network providers, communication, security, cloud, even other. This is important to look at, right? Other. These providers, a lot of these you probably won't recognize, right? Better Vantage Point, Brain Trust, Decoso. Some of these are exclusive automotive providers, and some of these are exclusive ACS providers, right? Brain Trust, Bird Eye. I need to emphasize this for Bird Eye, right? Bird Eye is a reputation management software company. What they do is they help businesses better manage their reputation online. That includes managing 5-star reviews, managing how they show up on index pages like Yelp, Google reviews, Google My Business, all those different things. Anything concerning a business and its online reputation, Bird Eye helps these businesses manage that, especially for businesses that might have multiple locations, right? And they need an efficient and effective way to manage and respond to comments and make sure that their overall reputation throughout their franchises is where they want them to be. Bird Eye has an amazing platform. I'm giving them a plug because this Thursday, 10 a.m., we're gonna host a webinar with them exclusively for ACS partners. We're opening it up, but it's hosted by ACS. So big shout out to Bird Eye. That's one example of an exclusive ACS provider that you won't find with any other TSD. And it's these little examples of Bird Eye, Brain Trust, and these other niche automotive providers you won't find with any other TSD, right? So we've really paved the way and pioneered, for a lot of these suppliers, we help build their channel, right? We tell them, hey, we see value in your service. We've heard customers ask about your product and services. We want to help build a channel so that our partners can get paid. So again, this is that other section here. You'll find those unique suppliers there. Just one key point, right? Providers, there's about 150 listed on this partner portal. This is our core provider portfolio, right? This is what partners are selling kind of day in and day out. The comprehensive ACS provider portfolio is closer to 600 plus suppliers. Excuse me. So what that means is if you ever come across a supplier that's not on this list, just reach out to your ACS team. One of us is going to be able to verify for you if we have an agreement. Can you get paid? 9 times out of 10, we have access to virtually every internet, voice, cloud, security, software, niche solution provider. Just get in touch with us and we'll verify that for you. But all right, now to the good stuff, right? If you click on any one of these provider pages, it's going to be a very rich informational page about that supplier. We have some cool key facts up here, right? Payout, AT&T pays commission on invoiced, right? So they wait. So what happens is AT&T will generate an invoice. Once that invoice is generated, they already start to simultaneously process commissions. Whereas some providers invoice the customer, wait for commissions, wait for that invoice to be paid, and then they'll release commissions, right? So again, that transparency again, right? We outline exactly what that structure looks like for these different suppliers, their footprint, and their evergreen, right? Partners want to know, when we're out of contract, will I still receive commissions? The vast majority of these providers have a strong evergreen, and I can kind of get into some of those nuances. You can reach out to me for any one of these providers. But again, you can see provider contacts, right? You can see local channel manager contacts. And again, you don't have to be an expert on any of this. Your ACS channel manager will help make all these introductions. Once orders are in the pipeline, they'll know where to route them, who to CC, who to involve for escalations, right? That's one thing about ACS. We're extremely relentless in our escalations and in fighting for customers. We've been in business for 24 plus years. So, we have longstanding relationships with these providers, right? So if there's ever issues that arise, we're going to leverage our relationship, leverage our contacts, really get to the root cause of these issues. Technician didn't show up on site, activation dates keep getting pushed out. We're going to escalate some of these issues, get to the bottom of it, and do it in a very swift and effective manner. Because at the end of the day, we're relentless about our partners, but we're also relentless about your customers because we know it all starts with the customer and we want to make you look good. So just rest assured that, ACS has your back. We have links, documents, right? One sheet, one pagers, all the different products from that provider. Pricing, this is going to be obsolete, right? What's the rate card, right? People always ask, what's this provider rate card? A lot of providers at AT&T specifically, they're moving away from a generic rate card, right? Where it's, hey, this half of the country is going to be this rate, this half of the country is going to be this rate. What these suppliers are doing now is they have dynamic pricing depending on building. That could change. It could change from zip code or from building, right? One building could be 495, the next building next door could be 445. It's this dynamic pricing that makes these rate cards not as effective anymore, which is why we utilize FiberLookup and PricingPro, because it's real-time APIs connected to the same systems that the AT&T team is using. So that's how we ensure accurate and real-time pricing, which we'll look at very, very shortly. Commissions, right? Transparency, here it is. Very transparent about what all these commission rates are. You can look at any one of these providers, look at the commission rates, when they get paid, how they get invoiced, what products are eligible. That's all very transparent. And again, I'm happy to break this down for partners. I do this stuff all day. I love it. You can always reach out to me. And then video and frequently asked pages. So that's the providers pages in a glance. Products page, you can sort by different products. If you want to see who are all the UCaaS vendors in our portfolio, you can hit a few different filters to find that very easily. And then some additional resources, right? The webinar calendar, industry updates, marketing questionnaire, right? If you have marketing needs that you need, and just other additional resources at your disposal. Now I'm going to go to this page here, ACS Automotive. And I've alluded to this earlier, right? ACS, just in general, right? If you're a partner here, you already know this. If you're not an ACS partner, maybe you heard rumblings of this. ACS in general thrives in many different ways, but on the supplier side, where ACS really stands out for some of the other TSDs is our exclusive agreements, exclusive supplier agreements, right? We talked about automotive, but that spans in even under other industries, right? HR services, healthcare, right? Retail, there's so many niche solutions that ACS has that you won't typically find in other TSDs. Speaking of those niche solutions, ACS has a specific and dedicated automotive industry, right? We're the only TSD with an automotive industry. We've been at this for, 7, 8 plus years now. What this means is that if you have any customers in the automotive vertical, right, dealerships, small mom and pop dealerships, privately owned, or, a lot of these dealership groups that are sometimes comprised of multiple locations, we have unique products that can cater to the sales department, to the fixed operations department, the finance department. Some of those products include AI outreach, credit card processing, dealer management system integrations, voice and tracking, website SEO, right? Upsells and couponing pages on their website. All this stuff is listed, and these unique providers are listed here under this section, right? These are providers that do not have these are providers that are exclusively thriving and at its core designed to support the automotive vertical. So, with the exception of GoTo and maybe one other provider, right? The vast majority of these you might have never come across before, right? DealerPay, they do credit card processing for dealerships. CyberFox, it's security platform for dealerships. Space Auto, right? They create dealership websites that actually convert. Call review, call tracking and analytics for dealerships that integrates into their CRM, into their dealer management system. And again, this is really the tip of the iceberg as far as, what's available to dealerships. Um, the main takeaway here is if you have a dealership opportunity, talk to your ACS channel manager. You'll be impressed at what the ACS automotive team within ACS, how they can support your customers, impress them with just the variety of solutions that they may not even know is out there, right? That's usually the biggest bottleneck for these dealerships, right? They hold on to a service and they tend to keep that service for years on end. But a lot of these dealerships, they want to be innovative, they want to stand out. And that's where our team, in synergy with you, can help open and shed light on some of these different suppliers, unique solutions to help these automotive businesses. Yeah, just a plethora of information here on the ACS Partner Portal. With that being said, I'm going to jump to the FiberLookup. We have a quick link here. This was the address I was going to look up. Just want to show you real quick since I've already looked it up. This is the FiberLookup page, right? Once you click the FiberLookup quick link, you just search an address, right? You can type in 501, wherever you are in the country, even in Canada, even some regions in Canada, this will work. Now, the FiberLookup, this is a proprietary tool. It's built by ACS, designed by ACS, and maintained by ACS. So the benefit of that is one, we're not beholden to other third-party agencies. This is our application exclusively for ACS partners, and it works really, really, really well. So you just type in your address, right? I actually already have an address pulled up, 901 Main, Dallas. When you type in an address, this is what you'll see. You'll see two main things, right? You'll see this giant bird's eye view, satellite view of the address you've entered. And you'll also see the location results of the address you've entered. You'll also see these clusters, right? These clusters represent pockets and really condensed areas where there's multiple providers. So what I like to do is hit uncluster here, and it's going to expand that selection. And as you can see now, we have the expanded providers all over the map. I'm going to keep zooming in, right? Sometimes it can get a little busy depending on if you're in the downtown areas where there's, hundreds of providers within just one block, right? So here I am. This is the building I've entered, right? You can select the building, 901 Main Street. And again, you can see the providers, right? When you see providers around the building like this, 901, this typically means a provider is on net. If you don't know what on net means, it just means that that provider has or has had infrastructure in that building that allows it to turn up, activate in a very, very quick turnaround time. The best way to interpret these results, right? You have an opportunity, you have the customer on the phone, you look up an address, look over here to the location results. We've simplified this by different categories, right? So depending on your customer's budget or their need, you're going to be able to just review this. I'm going to zoom in a bit. If you look here, shared internet providers, Fidium on net up to 1 gigabyte, Spectrum Coax is green, AT&T AIA, their shared fiber product is available, right? So if you don't know what any one of these information statuses mean, hit the little icon. For Spectrum Coax, green means the address is serviceable. Proceed with installation truck roll. It's one of the best results we can get. Dedicated fiber, right? This might be a data center or it might just be a multi-tenant building, right? It's a huge high rise. We have gigabit fiber, Fidium, Cogent, Verizon, AT&T, Spectrum, Lumen, Zayo. This is such a rich location as far as availability and the different providers that are available, right? Quick tangent, right? Gigabit Fiber, they're one of our newest regional fiber providers, right? Where ACS also shines, not only in being relentless in just the support, the dedicated teams, the exclusive provider agreements, ACS Automotive, our award-winning tools. We also go out of our way to onboard and sign more agreements with regional fiber providers, right? More agreements than any other TSD. You know, you're seeing about 2 or 3 a month. Gigabit was the latest. They were just added a few weeks ago. Gigabit Fiber, they're in Texas only. And in fact, I think they're only in the Dallas area, right? With maybe their network expanding. But because they're a regional fiber provider, typically they have more competitive rates, more personalized support. And then on the quoting and sales experience, it's such a refined process, right? So these regional fiber providers are integrated into the FiberLookup, into our tools, so that you can quote and have more options. So that way, when you're talking to customers, you're giving them all their options, not just the big national, providers like Lumen, AT&T, and Verizon. You have other regional providers that you're able to expose them to. And a lot of times that can make the biggest difference, trying to close that deal. So yeah, going back to this, dedicated fiber providers, you can see everybody that's on net. Resellers, right? AirSpring, Fusion, Nitel, these are your wholesalers. They have wholesaler agreements with virtually all of these providers. They're able to wholesale these rates, sometimes more cost effective than just going direct with some of these providers. They're going to be great for customers who have multiple locations. Fixed wireless providers, right? These are providers typically put a microwave dish, an antenna on the rooftop of that building to beam that line of sight to get that fiber internet beyond reach, right? You're going to see these throughout the country because they wholesale with fixed wireless providers all throughout the United States. This provider really shines in areas where customers are hard to reach. It's in their name, right? Beyond reach. Customers who are in rural areas, hard to reach areas, they're the ones to keep in mind. Earthlink, TowerStream, these are available in territory. We can quote, get pricing for them. Satellite internet, we have Hughes. We also have Starlink, right? That's been the latest buzz lately. So if your customers are asking about these different types of services, we can offer them, and a lot of them can get pricing from this tool. So just to clarify, FiberLookup is the real-time availability tool, and PricingPro is the real-time pricing tool. So I'm going to go ahead and click on PricingPro. And partners ask me all the time, Sergio, how do I know that this is accurate, right? All this information is great. We love the colors, love the logos. How do we ensure that this is accurate, right? Because the last thing you want to do is give your customer incorrect or misleading information. So great question. That's the $1 million question. ACS ensures that the FiberLookup availability and that the PricingPro pricing generated is accurate because the pricing is coming directly from these suppliers. We're not fabricating any of this. All of this is happening through APIs where the FiberLookup and PricingPro are making real-time requests to all these different provider systems to generate the result of availability and generate the real-time pricing result. So that's how we ensure accuracy. And for a lot of these suppliers, sometimes they'll generate an RFQ number where suppliers on their back end can actually look up in their system and find that quote generated. Very cool stuff. But all that to say is trust in this process, trust in PricingPro, trust in FiberLookup for the results that it produces. So let's say you wanted to, price out this customer, right? You can name this RFQ, Tech Bros LLC. You can select the different providers, right? AT&T, Nitel, Spectrum Fiber. You can do Fidium, right? They just rebranded. Earthlink. And then on the shared internet side, you can select different providers here, right? AT&T or ACC for ABF, Spectrum Coax, Fidium. You can select those. I'm going to keep this very simple, so I'll just select a few different providers. But at a glance, you've selected your providers, right? AT&T, Nitel, Spectrum, Fidium for the shared internet. You can select term, with or without router options, and static IP addresses. You can also select multiple speeds. Maybe a customer is indecisive, or you just want to show them the price difference between 100 meg and 150. So maybe what you'll do here is you'll select both of these, 100 meg, 150, without router, 3-year term for best pricing. So Spectrum only have 1 and 200, so we'll select both of those. And again, I'm just keeping the term apples to apples. Shared internet, right? Maybe they want to fail over backup circuit. That's where Fidium's going to play that role here. Do without router. Now I'm going to hit run pricing. Cool. So already you can already see these spinning wheels, right? The system's making that real-time pricing request for these providers. You can already see the pricing return to us. While this is happening, two points of focus, right? On this top right-hand side, this is going to be your information, right? At the moment that you see me, if you go to your profile section, you can actually modify your image, your company logo, right? Your signature. All of that can be modified because there's going to be an opportunity for you to send your customer a link to this landing page, right? This RFQ dashboard, customers can actually look at it, right? Because it's so nice and pretty, it's organized, it's sorted by the different product categories. So in this presented to section, you'll actually put the customer's information, right? Or at least that's how this was designed to, right? This is designed to be a customer interfacing dashboard. So this could be Mary Lou. She's the IT director. And I'm just filling this out. Now, this is super crucial. The email address that you enter here, this is the email address. Whoops. This is the email address that the customer is going to receive. So whatever email address you put here, that's gonna designate where this quote's going to be sent out to. So I'm just going to scroll down for a second. We can already start to review this pricing, right? Spectrum Fiber, we wanted to compare the 100 and 200 meg, 450 to 600. Maybe you're looking at this and you're like, you know what? I don't want to overwhelm the customer. I really want to keep this just very plain and simple for them. On second thought, let's remove one of these pricings that we've quoted out for them, right? So now we've removed one, right? And now we're looking at the AT&T 100, 150. Their 150 is very competitive, so let's keep that. Now we're just waiting for Nitel here. And again, the reason why we have these spinning wheels is, that's how the system is making that real-time information request, right? Now, sometimes things break, right? Our system will always make these requests. Sometimes providers have issues on their end, right? So sometimes these things will spin infinitely. If you ever see a scenario like that, that's a good time where your ACS channel manager could get involved. We can reach out to the providers directly, let them know their tool's down, and then work with them to get pricing, right? But in this scenario, if you're satisfied with what you see, we can remove any one of these, right? So now it's a competitive scenario between Spectrum, AT&T. We have Fidium as a backup circuit, 170 for 1 gig. And again, you're reminded of that status here, quick connect, on net. If you don't know what these statuses are, you're reminded here, quick connect, fiber is built to the location, turn up in 30 days or less. It's one of the best results we can get. We can then email the customer the pricing text, right, which is going to be a text-based email, or we can hit save and email customer. The system's going to generate this text. You can review the RFQ from this link, and it's going to provide a link for the customer. So all I'm going to say is, it's also going to already include the greeting, right? It's going to say, hello, Mary. So I'm just going to say, please see below for the RFQ. And then let me know if you have any questions. And again, because you've already set up your signature, you've already set up that information, the customer is going to get an email, a very simple email. It's going to say, hello, Mary. And it's going to say, you can review the RFQ from this link. It's going to come directly from your email address, right? It's fulfilled through your email. And now When the customer selects that RFQ link, here's a preview of what they're going to see, right? So now so this is the admin stuff that we'll get to in a second. But let's say now I'm the customer. They're not going to see these red, delete buttons, right? This is only because we're looking at it from our perspective. But let's assume for a second that now I'm the customer. I've gotten that email from you that says review this RFQ link. I selected that link and it would take me to this page. I would see you, right? My partner advisor, my technology advisor. I would see this is curated for me and that this is my company here. Like, yeah, I own Tech Bros LLC or Tech Gals LLC. And now I see the pricing that you provided for me, right? And so now as I'm looking at this, two things are happening, right? You're going to get an email saying, hey, hey, partner, your customer, Mary, has just opened and is reviewing your quote for Tech Bros LLC at 901 Main Street, Dallas. So you're going to get alerted in real time. You'll get an email when your customer is reviewing the RFQ. It'd be a very timely and opportune time to call them, text them, let them know you're thinking of them, let them know if they have any questions. So that's one really cool advantage. You get real-time alerts when the customer is reviewing this. And also, you'll get real-time alerts when the customer is looking at this and decides to hit request order. You'll get an email that says, hey, ACS partner, your customer, Mary Lou, has just accepted the 100 meg Spectrum fiber for $450 a month. So now you can work with your ACS team to generate the agreement, kick that over to them within the hour, close the deal, get that in the pipeline, just like that. And I know we've kind of jumped through this process, and for some partners this might have been just a lot of information to take in at once. But if there's any takeaway, right, it's just the simplicity of going to the fiber lookup, getting the availability for that address, utilizing PricingPro to get their real-time pricing, and then having the capability to send that to the customer directly. So I encourage all our partners to experiment with that, to try a few different addresses, or to reach out to me and say, hey, Sergio, I want a deeper dive. I want you to meet with my team, do a demo like this, get even more granular, talk more about commissions, spiffs, other supplier agreements. Happy to do that. At this time, I'll take a moment to just see if there's any questions. Let's see here. Cool. No questions. Thank you, David, for shouting out Bird Eye, who will be on our call this Thursday. We'll send a recording to all our partners. If you need access to this tool, we'll give you guys access. With that being said, thank you for your time today. We'll be back next month with more to come, right? We'll probably talk channel partners. That's going to happen in April. We're going to have more of our deep dive series, more providers like Bird Eye this Thursday. And there's going to be more agreements, right? We're onboarding more suppliers, enhancing these tools. So these calls are always going to feel different, and the focus of these calls are always going to be different. But with that being said, thank you for joining me today, and I hope everybody has a great rest of their day. Thank you.